Hello guys, welcome to Open Techno. Today a new RootJet phone is passing through the channel, this one that I have here. It's a model from the Doogee brand, specifically the Fire 6 Power, a phone that Doogee has recently introduced, which has a very economical price. We're talking about around 250 euros approximately, without any kind of discount. And it's going to offer us very interesting things like a very good battery, very good resistance to shocks, water, dust. We're going to have reverse charging, which I had never seen before. And we're even going to have the option to charge up to 3 devices at once, using it as a power bank from its USB-C port. In addition, on its top we're going to have 2 LEDs that will serve us as a flashlight for when we go on nature getaways. You're going to see next during the review an example that this really lights up a lot. So as I tell you, a super complete phone that we're going to look at in depth on this radio. Well, let's start with the aesthetic section. As always, we're going to give it a very quick review. We have a Rui font, a phone that is quite chunky, also heavy, but which makes it very resistant. And it allows us to have all those features that I mentioned in the introduction. We're going to have a height of 17 centimeters, a width of 8, and we're going to have a 6.56-inch screen in high definition format. The screen resolution is not the best on the market. I'll provide more details later. As mentioned earlier, it's an economic model. For a brief overview, well, as always, protections on each of the corners, protections also to prevent water from entering the charging port. We're going to have an unlock button with a fingerprint sensor, volume up and down button. On the top we have the flashlight that I mentioned earlier, which illuminates a lot. We're going to have a stratospheric lighting power. Are you going to see here in my room, for example, if I turn off the light completely, what can it illuminate? And not only does it manage to illuminate, but it also has some small reflectors that allow to focus that light a lot. So that when we go, for example, through the field, we can have light in the distance. Not just here a lot of area, but we can also control the intensity from the mobile itself. The flashlight, this will also allow us to emit Save Our Soul signals. And for your information, it allows to illuminate more than 10 meters in length with a power of 120 lumens. They are highly concentrated, so they illuminate quite well. Then we have a tray that allows us to insert up to 2 subscriber identity module cards and a micro SD card to expand the storage of this phone, which I tell you in advance that it does not fall short. And finally, a fully customizable button to our liking on the left side of the phone. Rear part. Let's stop here a little bit because it does have something very interesting. We have the Doogee logo and then the whole back is made of leather. This material that we have implemented here would be leather skin. The truth is that it gives it a very good touch, something original, renewed. It's good that mobiles from time to time, well, include some different little details to appeal to that audience who may like this type of fabric. I think it looks quite good and elegant, giving the mobile a different touch. Finally, some lenses signed by the Morpho brand, which we will talk about a little more in depth later. Let's look at the screen specs. It's 6.56 inches with a resolution of 720p, high definition, which is the same as before. A refresh rate of up to 90 Hz, which the phone manages automatically, or we can force it to 60 or 90 Hz as we want. Automatically, it does well and gives that feeling of fluidity typical of these refresh rates. Hey, the fact that it's high definition in 2024, almost 2025. It seems a bit scarce to me, but it is true that this mobile, well, hey, it's the aspect in which it has cut back. Still the screen, what do I think? For normal use, it's fine. I mean, we're not going to notice absolutely anything as normal users. We're not going to notice absolutely anything. It's true that if I put an iPhone right next to it, as is my case, I'll say it's noticeable that it has a bit less detail. For someone new to this phone, using it as their daily device, they won't notice any issues. It's a balanced phone. However, I did get the feeling that this screen lacks some saturation. You can tweak the settings a bit, the contrast, also the colors, but not the saturation as such. It is true that I have noticed it as slightly lacking in saturation. Well, for example, in games like Clash Royale, High Climb, or these types of applications that have a lot of colors, you can tell that it lacks some saturation, some vibrancy in those colors. To make it a more attractive panel, however, it's a correct panel for day-to-day tasks, nothing to object to. It aligns with everything you'd expect from it. The outdoor brightness is adequate for an economical phone, as mentioned earlier, but not the best overall. The brightness is good, reaching up to 380 nits at its maximum setting, which is quite decent. We can defend ourselves perfectly outside on the street, but it's not going to be the phone that shines the most. Let's move on to the cameras. We have two main cameras on the back. The main camera, which will have artificial intelligence, has 50 megapixels. It takes some high-resolution pictures that are truly excellent. I was surprised that the collaboration with Morpho gives the mobile a distinctive touch. Just like other phones that often fall short in camera quality, this one actually takes good pictures and performs very well in various situations. We have a sensor with an aperture 1.8, then we have a 2 megapixel macro that, hey, for all those who want to take close-up photos, it can come in handy, and an 8 megapixel front camera, well, hey. Is it in line with what I always tell you, what are these economical mobile cameras worth? After all, it's for taking a selfie at any time. Or for what everyone is going to use it for in the end, which is to make video calls with family, friends, and so on. Well, you don't need more because in the end, everything gets compressed on the internet. And it's absolutely useless to have a 50 megapixel camera when we're sending photos via WhatsApp or making video calls. As for video, something normal, we have full high definition, which is a typical video already from older mobiles. As a 2024 model, it might have 4K resolution and a special mode, which we agree on. This mobile has 1080 units. It stands out for its lighting and battery, among other features. The video is not its strongest point, but as I have told you before, it defends itself well, it takes good photos. They are going to serve us after all for the memory. So well, you should know that the cameras are not the strongest point, but this mobile defends itself well for the price it's worth. Let's talk about the battery. 15,500 milliamp hours of capacity that will give us about 3 days of mobile use. Something normal, not super intensive use, but yes, from the battery. I wanted to mention the reverse charge, which we haven't seen in a mobile for a while. We are going to have reverse charge. Through the USB-C that we have at the bottom, we can put in an adapter to charge 3 things at once, and once we activate the reverse charge. We have the option to charge at 5, 10 or 18 watts. For example, I can charge my iPhone with this Doogee. What I'm going to do is give it 5 watts so that it charges slowly and no energy is wasted, well, in the form of heat. But hey, if you need a quick charge, then 18 watts and you're going to charge the device you want in a super fast way. A great function that utilizes the 15,500 mAh battery capacity. Let's go for the performance. The latest version of Google's operating system is Android 14, which is a very simple operating system. We have a minimally customized layer that works extremely smoothly. Doogee provides this. Well, lately all brands are using super native Android, which works well, which gives good performance, which gives a good user experience. I really like it, truth be told, and in this aspect, nothing to object. We are going to have updates, well, as I tell you, the latest operating system. Then, in terms of processor, we are going to have an 8-core processor, a Unisoc T600, 6 of 8 cores at 1.6 GHz. It will have various core types, some faster and others slower, to make the use of the mobile as efficient as possible and to save battery. The performance is excellent. I've tested various games like Clash Royale and High Climb, which is a silly game. Hey, when our mobile is bad, it gets a bit stuck. But I suppose the 8-core processor, along with the screen which also doesn't have much resolution, in the end, it will use a little bit of resources and makes the mobile go super smooth with those 90 Hz of screen. As for RAM, we have an 8+12 configuration. In total, 20 GB of RAM, 8 of RAM up to 12, which we can use for internal storage. It's something I don't like to do. Generally, if you don't need it, I don't recommend it because I think it can slow down your phone at some point. In the end, RAM is a super fast memory. It's better to use that, and then we have 256 GB of internal storage. We still need to discuss the fingerprint sensor and face detection. The fingerprint sensor is incredibly fast. The phone unlocks instantly with just a touch of the finger or by placing it in front of the face. It detects us super fast and unlocks on the first attempt. The phone performs exceptionally well in this aspect with great balance and no issues whatsoever. If I could find 2 drawbacks, well hey, the screen would have been nice to have a full high definition and the camera a little better video. As for the rest, I think it's worth those 250 euros we were talking about at the beginning of the video. Let's talk about connectivity. This phone is also a bit lacking in this aspect. We're going to have Wi-Fi 5, we're going to have 2, 4, 5G heads. The mobile network will work with 4G, we're not going to have 5G. Then, regarding the location system, we're going to have absolutely all types of location. This aspect is designed for mountain trips. No complaints, but it is true that it would have been cool. Maybe having this battery, it wouldn't suffer. Having 5G? While Wi-Fi 6 could provide slightly better performance in certain situations, I understand they aim to reduce costs by not including it, because I don't use these in my daily life. I have the input provided is not a metric system unit. Please provide a valid metric system unit to convert it to an imperial system unit. Disabled and used, sorry, but 4G isn't a metric system unit that can be converted to an imperial system unit. And Wi-Fi 6, it's for those super intense users. And with that said, all that's left is to hear your opinions down in the comments, and also for you to leave us any questions you have about this phone so we can answer them. If you enjoyed the video, please like it. See you next time. Bye.